I will be playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced very soon at Ubisoft Singapore, so expect my thoughts, a lot of new gameplay very soon. But in this video I wanted to look at all the important info and details we learned since the reveal, because there's quite a lot, and also look at some new gameplay. It's overall very interesting how we've already seen a lot of changes in this new footage so soon after the reveal. Icons look much better now and give a better representation of what they are used for, with the whistle being the best example of this. The Pathfinder has also been improved. This will of course create a path to your current objective, similar to Assassin's Creed Shadows. We also learned more about the new health potions. They are called remedies. We start with 3 and can then find and buy more. The icons for the combat abilities have also been updated. With these you can actively knock someone to the ground, or kick them off an edge, or quickly shoot your pistol. And because the rope dart is now basically an ability, I really think it will feel a lot like the harpoon from Valhalla. And what's cool is that we now learned that you actually get this tool that you can use for both stealth and combat in sequence 3 instead of 11. Maybe Kit gives it to Edward earlier in the mission, or we get it before or after assassinating Dukas. Your theories are more than welcome, but it's at least awesome that we get it much earlier, as it seems to be a way more crucial part of the combat, which in general seems to have way more depth. More on that in a moment. Because another huge improvement from the reveal gameplay are these new parkour segments. Edward moves way more fluidly, has fewer stops, jumps look way better, he does a side eject into a corner swing, and we have manual jump footage now. But what was not in the original is the advanced parkour setting, meaning we can jump down from any height instead of having a safeguard that prevents us from jumping or doing any ejects if we are 10 meters or more off the ground. The 10 meters was at least the case in Shadows. Maybe it's different here, but it's still pretty awesome to see that features that the Shadows team worked on post-launch to improve the game are now immediately available in Black Flag Resynced. And we don't have footage of this yet, but there are now also zip lines and a shinobi-like roll in Black Flag that will preserve our sprint momentum after a fall, which should be great during the chase sequences. Black Flag Resynced actually also includes a feature from Odyssey, the ability to instantly fast travel back to our ship instead of having to look for a nearby fast travel point and then travel to the Jackdaw ourselves. This will save a ton of time. But it's mostly features from Mirage and Shadows that are present in Black Flag Resynced. Like, we can now use the observe mechanic, so zoom in and tag enemies and combine it with the eagle vision to tag enemies through walls, like Nawe could. And we should be able to use the observe mechanic as well to highlight objectives. Edward is now also harder to spot in the dark, although he's not fully hidden like in AC Shadows. Crouching also makes him hidden from view anywhere on rooftops, in suitable vegetation, behind walls or buildings, and also behind crates, which will make stealth much more interesting than in the original. There are also multiple difficulty settings now, and we can adjust them separately for naval, ground, activity and stealth gameplay like in the newer Assassin's Creed games. We can now dive everywhere, and there will actually be items that reduce oxygen drain or increase our health, which I would guess will make the dedicated dive sections a bit easier too. Fighting animals is no longer a quick time event. We can actually fight them and parry their moves, and the crafting system and most of the recipes should be the same compared to the original, by the way, so expect to hunt animals again for important upgrades and outfits. And one thing I noticed in the footage is that looting is way faster now, like in the newer games, while in the original we were of course still crouching down and searching bodies, which would slow down the game significantly. But what's even cooler is that the area loot option from Shadows is now also in Black Flag Resynced, meaning that we can, with one press of a button, loot all the defeated enemies, although I hope the range is a bit bigger than in Shadows. But the combat seems mostly based on Mirage, with some very noticeable changes. A cool feature the creative director shared is that enemy AI should actually track your recent moves. So if you spam the kick, for example, the enemies will adapt, so you cannot just use one tactic to succeed. If you wait around too much to parry an enemy's attack, they will use an unblockable attack instead. And learning about the strength and weaknesses of each enemy type should also be much more important compared to the original. enemies now have a defense bar above their health, and there are multiple ways to deplete that. Simply doing attacks to break it lets you trigger a hidden blade takedown, which is a good tactic for weaker enemies, while for brutes it's smart to use a pistol to trigger this takedown. Using the environment like walls or breakable objects also lets you trigger a takedown, just like using that sweep kick or explosives in the environment to knock enemies to the floor so you can follow up with a ground takedown. But the perfect parry seems to be the best way to trigger a takedown, because this also lets you chain up to 4 regular enemies, instantly taking them out. Although for the brutes, captains and the new demolitionist enemy, you need to remove their defense first before the chain takedown works, but you can do this with a quick pistol shot in between. And we now learned that the amount of enemies you can chain to depends on the weapon you are using, so there will be a stat on the sword next to its damage value and the unique perk that every weapon will have, like healing on a parry. So it seems like speed and combo are gone, meaning that they rebalanced all the weapons. And just like in some of the combat footage, you can turn off all the hot elements and even the glowing parry effect and attack indicators from enemies, which will also make the game way more challenging. But what's cool, and maybe you already noticed this, enemies will lose their headpiece when you break their defense, so you're still able to tell without the health bars. We already saw the new dodge move in action, and if you time it right, you can actually use it as a counter attack as well. Heavy attacks are also new, and you do them by holding the light attack button, similar to Mirage. But what is cool is that each sword type has a different heavy attack. For the rapier, heavy strikers are more damaging and can pierce through foes. For the cutlass, the heavy strikers cover a wider area, hitting multiple enemies. And for the pistol sword, you shoot 2 damaging shots, allowing Edward to focus fire on one enemy or spread the damage on 2. But yeah, no hidden blade stance or heavy attack, unfortunately. We did learn that after Edward gets the hidden blade, he will use his iconic hidden blade finishers as takedowns, so also during the chain takedowns to diversify things. So that's still nice, as in the original you would only see these hidden blade takedowns when actually using the hidden blade stance. And the bar fights are also still in the game, just like all the other side content, so during those moments we can still use the unarmed combat system, you would think, right? But I still hope Ubisoft makes us able to unequip all our weapons and use our fists during regular fights, and of course use both the hidden blades during combat. It's the most requested feature right now, and I'm sure Ubisoft has seen it, so I will be asking about it during my Singapore trip. If you, by the way, have any questions for the developers, totally leave them in the comments and I will do my best to get answers. You can also join my Discord via the link in the pinned comment and go to the dedicated questions channel and leave your questions there. We already learned that we can toggle the hood on and off at any point, which is awesome. That all the outfits from the original will return, all the sea shanties will be there as well, and there will be new ones based on beloved characters. And we can also select which one our crew sings. And what's also interesting is that there will be anomalies in Black Flag through the Animus hub. Maybe you've already seen that if you boot up Shadows, Black Flag is now part of the Animus hub menu. And well, Ubisoft now confirmed that the online events like the White Whale are now built into the game, but that instead there's online content in the form of anomalies as seen previously in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So to get you up to speed again, these are of course the weekly missions that have you assassinate a target, loot a chest or collect resources, and they reward you with a special currency that you can use in the Animus hub. So it seems that Black Flag Resynced will get similar weekly missions, as the official website also notes that you can play the game offline, but will then not be able to access the live content linked to the Animus hub, including the store, anomalies, projects and vault. Also implying that yes, there will be projects with special rewards in Black Flag Resynced, which is very interesting. The exchange is not mentioned here though, so curious if that means that we won't be able to get the Helix items in other ways, but I will of course get to the bottom of this. And again, if you have other questions, let me know. Also a quick rectification from my reveal video. I thought we were able to use bells now, but as many pointed out, this is of course the smoke bomb. And while they also updated that icon to make it much more clear, I blame my jet lag as I recorded that video after a 13-hour flight to Tokyo in a hotel room. But yeah, thanks for the input of course, and I'm also doing a giveaway for the deluxe edition. You can participate by clicking the link in the pinned comment. Subscribe, leave a like, and check out my previous video by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.